This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Witness says a woman gangster was worried black man would lose control after arrest. Stephanie Christie, the sole female accused in the trial of 33 alleged members of the deadly Klansman gang, was worried that Andre Blackman Brand, who police say is the gang boss, would have lost his grip on the St. Catherine communities he controlled after he was arrested in 2018, a prosecution witness testified yesterday. According to witness number 1, he was summoned by Christie, who he said is a pastor of a church in St. Thomas and a high-ranking gang member, to her house to discuss Brand's legacy. She said, "We need to up we game because we can't make black man thing water down." He told the trial being held in the Supreme Court downtown Kingston. Asked her to explain what this meant, he said, meaning, from him gone to jail nobody none dead, no killing none gone. It was a bad thing for her. He further claimed that Christie also called the mama and who was introduced to him in 2016 by Brand run the gang. She is known as a finance person and the link between the police force and the gang. Christie is the person who gets the information about the license plate numbers and the colors for the police private cars and the type of car. She passed it on to me and I pass it on to the gang. If Blackman had a problem with an officer, she would get it sorted out, said the witness, who began his testimony on Wednesday from a remote location. If someone was held by the police, she would get that sorted out as well. She would get someone to bail them and she would deal with the lawyers. Sometimes the black man will ask her if she get the bailer man, he testified. In the meantime, he said, Christie, who went to church every Sunday and also went on church trips to which she invited him, had offered him her special brand of protection. She also invited me on the trips as well. Say I need protection. She even give me ring. I didn't take it, the witness claimed. Prodded by trial judge Chief Justice Brian Sykes as to whether he went on the trips or if the ring offered was a guard ring, the witness said, "No, Your Honor, and yes, it was a guard ring." He further claimed that 2 of the accused presently sitting in the dock are sporting guard rings courtesy of Christie. The Crown, in opening its case on September 20, had said Christie was a liaison officer between incarcerated members of the criminal outfit and those roaming free. Christie, the court was told, was also responsible for securing legal representation for the members of the gang whenever the law caught up with them and was also the link between the gang and rogue cops. The Crown said the accused individuals, which comprises the Blackman faction of the gang under Brand's leadership, had various roles in which they acted as killers, drivers, lookout men or watchmen, gunsmiths, and foot soldiers. The Crown is alleging that the accused between 2015 and 2019 carried out a range of murders, conspiracies to murder, extortion, and arson throughout St. Catherine. It said the Klansman headquarters at Dronte Avenue in Spanish Town was used by gang members for planning their exploits and was also where briefing and debriefing in respect of crimes took place. The court also heard that this was where transactions such as the sale and the purchase of guns to carry out murders were done. Several members of the gang in their roles as foot soldiers, the court was told, were responsible for ensuring that murders ordered were executed and that extortion monies were collected. The case, which includes the largest number of accused ever to be tried together in a single matter, is being handled by 40 attorneys. The accused are being tried under the Criminal Justice Act, commonly called the anti-gang legislation, with several facing additional charges under the Firearms Act for crimes allegedly committed between 2015 and 2019. All 33 accused, who are being tried under an indictment containing 25 counts when arraigned on September 20 at the start of the trial, pleaded not guilty to the charges against them. The offenses for which they are being charged include being part of a criminal organization, murder, conspiracy to murder, arson, illegal possession of firearm, and illegal possession of ammunition. Brian is charged with, among other things, being the leader of a criminal organization. $17 million rehabilitation for Anchovy to Barnett Bush roadway in St. James. A $17 million road rehabilitation project is now underway along the Anchovy to Barnett Bush roadway in southern St. James. The roadway is being repaired by the National Works Agency under its Maintenance of Secondary Roads program. The roadway is a major arterial link in southern St. James, connecting several rural communities including Anchovy, Mount Horeb, Welcome Hall, and Cambridge. It also links these communities to the city center of Montego Bay, St. James. Community Relations Officer for the NWA's Western Region, Janelle Ricketts, says the project got underway in early October and involves the rehabilitation of sections of the roadway to include significant drainage improvement as well as the reshaping and asphalting of the targeted road sections. Ricketts says that some section of the roadway will also benefit from patching and local rehabilitation. The project, which is well underway, is expected to be completed by the end of November. Junior doctors in support of vaccinate or test the proposal for healthcare workers. The main group representing the island's junior doctors has expressed the support for the COVID-19 vaccine or test mandate, which has been proposed for healthcare workers. On Wednesday, the National COVID-19 Vaccination Operationalization Task Force said, with the exception of the Jamaica Defense Force, there has been a low vaccination rate among frontline workers. It said increasing the vaccination rate among hesitant healthcare workers was a priority. Dr. Mindy Fitzhenley, president of the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association, has said she has no objection to the task force's proposal because of the significant risk of healthcare workers being exposed to COVID-19 while carrying out duties.
Because of the length of time and the proximity to patients with COVID that they're spending. And so we do believe that it is very important for healthcare workers to be vaccinated. There will always be a subset of people who are unable to be vaccinated because of medical reasons. And so those persons will always be allowed to not be vaccinated if that's what needs to be done for their health. And that is fine. It has always stood for all vaccinations. So no one is expecting these persons who are medically unable to be vaccinated to be forced to be vaccinated. That would not be something that we would encourage. Of course not. The way that the government had collected the information, it lumped everybody in together, all the healthcare workers. So it's not separated into junior doctors, senior doctors, or nurses. It's just all under one thing. So we don't have that information. MAG had actually sent out a request for persons to give in the information, but it's been slow coming back in. We know persons are exhausted at this point in time, continuously working. And so, we're not sure if everybody has gotten a chance to see the email and respond at this point. So we don't actually have any figures.
Jamaica records 8 more road fatalities over the past week. 8 fatalities were recorded on the nation's road over the past 7 days, according to the statistics provided by the Ministry of Transport and Mining's Road Safety Unit. The deaths were registered between October 22 and 28 in the parishes of St. Catherine, Manchester, Westmoreland, and St. Andrew. Manchester and St. Catherine proved to be the deadliest parishes, accounting for 6 of 8 fatalities recorded during the period. All the deceased were males. In light of this week's death toll, the director of the agency, Deirdre Hudson Sinclair, has once again urged citizens to use the road with caution, indicating that it would be unfortunate to lose anyone else. The director is appealing to individuals to reduce their speed when traversing the roads. Meanwhile, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland remained the most accident-prone parishes across the island. The 4 parishes account for 31% of road fatalities recorded so far this year. Jamaica has now recorded 374 deaths on the road networks since the start of the year. The fatalities are as a result of 333 crashes island-wide. When compared to a similar period last year, fatal crashes and fatalities have both increased by 1% and 2% respectively. Government looking to review issues with a sex offender registry. The Ministry of National Security is exploring ways to resolve some of the challenges with the sex offender registry. Matthew Samuda, minister without portfolio in the Ministry of National Security, said this involves dealing with legal and moral issues. Mr. Samuda's comments come in reaction to the increased scrutiny and the questions being raised about the late leader of Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries, Kevin Smith. Mr. Smith, who was killed in a car crash on Monday, was convicted of sexual offense in Canada in 2007. There are suggestions that this information should have been made available in Jamaica. However, Mr. Samuda said Jamaica's sex offender registry is only applicable to offenses committed in the island, and public access to it should remain limited because of the security concerns.
There is very little legal option. They didn't commit the offense in Jamaica. As such, we cannot force them under current law to register on the sex offenders registry. How we would even approach something like that legally, I don't know how an offense committed in another jurisdiction can prompt consequence in this jurisdiction. I think that causes particular challenges. And I would love to overcome. I just don't know legally how you do it. It seems problematic to me, but because the issue has been raised, we are going to look into it as well. If we come upon any ways to deal with it, we definitely will move to doing so with alacrity. I think that's a problem. Even knowing the offense committed by someone that would have triggered their deportation is one issue, but we wouldn't legally be able to register them on the sex offenders registry currently, even being aware. It does create a gap and a loophole that we're going to have to do some work on in terms of determining how we manage it going forward. But I can't tell you that there is an immediate solution. It doesn't exist in the current law, and we'll have to give some consideration to how it's managed in the future.
109 new COVID-19 cases, 18 more deaths. Jamaica has recorded 18 more COVID-19 deaths, pushing the tally to 2,217. The deceased are from St. James, an 84-year-old woman, an 88-year-old woman, an 86-year-old man, a 37-year-old woman, a 62-year-old woman, a 51-year-old man, and a 57-year-old woman. From St. Elizabeth, an 82-year-old woman, a 44-year-old woman, a 73-year-old man, and a 77-year-old man. From Kingston and St. Andrew, a 68-year-old man whose death was previously under investigation, and a 55-year-old woman. From Westmoreland, a 32-year-old woman and a 73-year-old woman. From St. Catherine, an 81-year-old man and a 67-year-old woman. And from Hanover, a 56-year-old woman. The Ministry of Health says the deaths occurred between March 11 and October 27, and 4 more fatalities are under investigation, moving that figure to 331. Meanwhile, there were 109 new cases, with ages ranging from 18 days to 89 years, pushing the total to 88,775, with 28,397 being active. Of the new cases, 69 are women and 40 are men. The parish breakdown is as follows: Kingston and St. Andrew 29, St. Anne 19, St. Catherine 17, Clarendon 8, St. James 8, St. Mary 6, St. Thomas 5, St. Elizabeth 5, Manchester 4, Hanover 4, Trelawney 3, Westmoreland 1, and Portland recorded no new cases. A total of 1,226 tests were conducted. The country's positivity rate stands at 12.2%. In the meantime, there were 189 more recoveries, increasing the total to 57,551. Some 291 persons are in hospital, with 63 being moderately ill, 22 severely ill, and 18 critically ill, and 43,301 persons are at home in quarantine. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.